So let's go back to the beginning, shall we? When it started.
The very beginning, eh?
The very beginning. Can you remember that?
I remember the rack and tenter in Moorgate, maybe 7-8 years ago now?
Early 215.
Where we had the blank sheet of A3 and scribbled down all the ideas.
I've still got that somewhere, Ed, I promise.
If you better find that, because that's like the holy grail. I'll get that framed. It was an idea, wasn't it? It was a pipe dream of mine, very originally. I always had the aspirations to start my own business, and getting someone like you on board was always priority number one, and thankfully you agreed to do it.
A good team.
A good team.
Arsenal and Spurs, mind you, but you know.
Yeah, you're not all
chalk and
perfect.
cheese.
You're not completely
perfect.
perfect.
Can't all be perfect, can we? Exactly.
So where do we start?
Why did we choose the products and the delivery that we?
There was a niche. There's an obvious niche in the market. As McLaren got significantly bigger, I identified what McLaren were and weren't anymore, and there's being a gap in the market to go back to what that was. And I explained that vision to you. You agreed, and lo and behold, Glencar was born. We're very thankful to the guys at McLaren, because when we started, we contracted for them for the first 6 months. So
which helped us.
You have to doff your cap where it's due. I was man and boy at McLaren. I graduated and joined the company. So,
but I think it's good that we've done it the right way. You know, we've always been proud of doing it the right way. You know, we put our notices in, and then we worked for them. For that 6 months, and then when we did leave, we went back to them, as you say, for a little bit, but it allowed us the time to start developing our business.
To start ramping up the company.
And when did we put the spade in the ground, the first job, can you remember?
I want to say June.
January 2017.
2017, that was Access. That was, it was the Formula One in Camberley.
It was.
Yeah.
Was.
Eugene was the project manager.
But that's a good point, isn't it? Why we was able to get that type of work that early with that client, because it goes back a long way, doesn't it?
It was existing relationships, wasn't it? We had a relationship with the client from previous guises, and we're allowing them to
do so. And we've got more of them as well, haven't we?
And we work with them sort of same people now. So, so repeat business was a mantra which was drilled into me from a very early age, and Glencar are probably poster boys for that.
And how isn't it funny how what we call the shed market? I hope you don't mind me saying this, but your nickname was Shedwood for many years.
Probably still is.
But how the shed market has developed, certainly in our lifetime as Glencar, but even before that, but we've seen the journey, haven't we? You know,
I think we've seen the journey of the construction industry, in my opinion, whereby the construction industry was portrayed as rough, muddy, wet, uncomfortable. It's now, in my opinion, the polar opposite. You go to site offices now, it's more professional, but the design, the IT, the every single thing, the connectivity, everything about it is better than it was when we started, and it's continuing to improve. And I think that's important. It's a great message from our industry across, if you follow me. I think Glencar are a prime example of that sort of moving forward. Gone are the days where you walk into a filthy drying room or a dirty canteen, you have cleaners, you have the IT connectivity now is fundamentally probably the most important thing about a site, because without that, there's no more faxes, there's no more.
And let's be honest, we wouldn't have our team, the number of the team we've got that would want to come to work in that environment.
No, there's one thing that it's incumbent upon all main contractors to do is spread the good word of what our industry is, really.
And in terms of the face of the INL, the type of buildings and the type of projects we're now delivering, that's changed quite significantly, isn't it?
And you've got sustainability elements now, you've got function dictating form, so a lot more build to suit now, really. You're not forcing an operation into an existing big shed.
No, although we are looking at, I guess, a lot more refurb and repositioning where we aren't building a new build, you know, we're making use of existing stock, driven by planning, driven by sustainability, net zero carbon. So we are finding that still in existence, but in a different way, I guess.
It is, it's a huge thing on the agenda now, the sustainability, the ESG, as everyone keeps referring to it as.
But we do a lot of that.
It's now not a tick in the box, it's now fundamentally required. And there's a growing belief in our industry and an investment in our industry in making sure we satisfy those requirements. And I think it's incumbent upon us all. I have 4 young kids. You have a young family. You'll be a granddad soon, no doubt.
Thanks very much. I need to get some grey hair in, yeah? Can I borrow some?
Well, it's incumbent upon all of us then to understand how we're impacting the environment that we're in and making sure we minimise those effects, indeed make it a positive effect.
Yeah, well, we are certainly ahead of the game when it comes to the sustainability and the net zero carbon. You know, we've invested our time, our money in that, and it will pay dividends in the future. I'm not saying just fiscally, but just, as you say, doing a benefit for the environment and the world we live in. And with ESG, I mean, we do a hell of a lot of sponsorship.
We do. Social value.
Looking after our own people, sponsoring. In fact, we just had a conversation just a minute ago about the guy's going to do racing for us next year. Yeah. It's not going to be on the public domain as much as the one we've done the year before, but it's looking after our own.
Look, social value is something that was big with us. We sponsor, I'd say, in excess of 25 sporting teams. There's Gaelic football, there's normal soccer, there's rugby, there's girls soccer, there's Berkhamsted football club, there's basketball.
So the racing I just mentioned. Yeah,
there's quite a broad spectrum. But stepping back into Glencar's sort of journey to date, the biggest reference I'd give for Glencar is our repeat business. If a customer or such a client wants to do the journey again, there's no better reference, is there?
Absolutely, it's the best accolade one could get.
I don't think we've lost a client, have we? In terms of
one-off
job, but everything's repeat business. So
I don't think we have.
Unless we look to grow, and hence the sort of growth has been sustainable. Our people have enabled it. We're massive people-centric, albeit we're customer-centric. Our people are the most important
thing, isn't it? I guess in a way.
If you look after your people, your customers will be happy because they'll get the better service.
Absolutely, and of course you just touched on it there. We are so in terms of what we're looking to do going forward. The I&L sector will always be part of our business. It'll be the core.
I&L will be core, but we will diversify. We are diversifying. Data centres, pharmaceutical, life science, Central London.
Studios.
A number of schemes. Studios, film studios, we've picked up a number of them lately. So we are diversifying. I&L will remain at our core because Shedwood, as you keep mentioning.
I only mentioned it once.
But that'll always be at our core. But alongside that, we'll submit our people have the capability.
And they want and the desire to do something different as well, to make it more interesting for them. But as we know, it's not so much the outer fabric of the building, that it's what goes in it that makes it that different sector bias. So we're heading in the right direction. And in terms of
the I&L sector has probably moved on the most in the last 10 years of any of the sectors in our industry, in my opinion, with automation. The robotics, the AI, we're installing in these warehouses something we saw in films growing up. We're seeing robots fly about warehouses, picking product, putting it in totes and sending it out to deliver.
More robots than people working in these units.
They said a diminishing number of human beings going into these units because of the sort of investment and the R&D is progressing at some sort of a pace.
Yeah, definitely. And in terms of the risks, I mean, we're obviously all aware of the economic risks.
Well, that's hence the diversification. I&L I don't see anytime soon, may slow down a tad. So it's incumbent upon us as the leadership team to make sure we protect our own and have that diversification, have, other eggs in different baskets.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and our supply chain are doing the same. And if I can say, I've worked with a few businesses before, but we've got the best supply chain partners, I think.
Well, the supply chain is a reflection of our success, really. We are nothing without our supply chain. They're as important as our people. And they are the reason we work with the same people again and again, aren't they?
They are. So are we happy then? And I don't mean personally. I'm talking about we as Glencar.
Professionally, yes. Can't not be happy when you're surrounded by the...
I'm very proud, and I'm extremely happy with what we've achieved to date and what we can see we can achieve going forward.
The team we built is the biggest shining light of Glencar. The thing I'm most proud of is the people, the talent we have in our organisation, and we're retaining them, we're training them, we're recruiting as talented people. That is the biggest validation to our journey at Glencar, in my opinion.
I agree, and actually, you just touched on it there, the fact that, 350 staff, of which, team members, I should say.
Team?
Sorry, Pat. But 10% of those are trainees or management trainees, or even more. So, that's a massive accolade. The fact that we're investing in not only in our future of Glencar, but also the future of the industry. Which has been lacking for many years.
Again, this is something I'm very proud of, is the young people we have coming through. We have guys we're sponsoring through degrees, through H&Ds. We have guys in their final year at university we're sponsoring. This enables the next generation of Glencar's growth.
Exactly.
We're bringing in brilliant people, we're training them, we're retaining them.
Because they're not on pegs at the moment like they used to be. And we can also Glencarise them, can't we?
Exactly. The Glencar way.
The Glencar way. What a great way.
So people keep questioning / worrying about our growth. How do you comment on that, Chris?
Well, do you know what? It's a question that we've faced, certainly since Glencar started, so 7 years ago. And we were expecting that question quite often. And in fact, sometimes we even ask the question to our customers, are you concerned about our growth? We've had tremendous growth, it's fair to say. It's out there in the open, everyone can see it. And how have we controlled that? We've always invested our time and resources ahead of the curve. So we've invested in resource before we secured the work. So if you look at our overhead year on year has been probably higher than the industry average, because that's where the investment has occurred.
It is, yeah.
So we've not been running around trying to deliver projects for our customers without the necessary, the adequate
We
resources.
brought the people in and then chased the work.
Absolutely.
Or
secured the work. Yeah, won the work.
So it's about bringing them in, getting them into the Glencar way of doing things, and then securing the work for them to go out and flourish.
Yeah. But we know, we've got an order book ahead of us now that is actually in excess of our turnover that we've just closed the books on this year. So, and that gives us confidence, certainly for the next year, that we have got enough work to feed them out. I used the phrase the other day, I went to a client meeting, we're here for tomorrow. Yeah. We've always said that. We're not here for the quick buck, and that's plain to see. We want this business to be around beyond you and I, in a way, don't we?
Yeah.
It's not something that we want to end when we go. Although I'll be going before you, although I'm not too sure about that. Yeah.
Hopefully, mate.
We understand the question why. It's not something that we take offence to when it's asked, but we have invested in our leadership team. We think they're best in class, as you said earlier, and so we have no concern.
And there's no target turnover. I'd note that. Our people enable the turnover, in essence, or everything. Our people enable it. So if we have less people, we'll have less turnover. It's not something that troubles me. I don't say I'm targeting this turnover. No. That's just pure vanity. Our people will enable what we deliver.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.